to this computer. Okay, now you guys should see that this is recording. Can you see that somewhere?
Yes, yes, we do.
It should tell you that it's recording. To be legal, it should be telling you that you're being recorded. But I'm telling you, you're being recorded. So let me give you, because it's going to feed into exactly what we were talking about, Gerardo. Let me talk about the collaborative standards concept maps, this assignment that's going on this week, to sort of give you the broad brush of what I told everybody yesterday, because I think it helps set the framework a little bit. The reason why this assignment exists is because as practicing educators, we have many different sets of standards that govern what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to do it, what our students are supposed to learn. And I believe that if you step back and take a look at those standards and you take a look at how they play with each other and how they interact and what they say, that there are themes that run throughout the standards that make it easier to understand all the standards. So this whole assignment is about the process of building the map, not about the map. The map isn't really even graded, and this is a big point I made yesterday. I mean, I'm not grading the map. But the actual only thing that really gets graded is your reflection about the process and the map, okay, that you turn in at the end of this week. The map exists to create the process by which you talk with other people who teach similar subjects to you, and you know, about the standards and how they relate.
Okay.
And so the assignment really, the concept map exists to get you in a process of looking at the different standards and mapping them together, but not by yourself, with other teachers. And so that's why the assignment. So whether the map's beautiful or detailed or color-coded, it's whatever helps your learning, whatever vehicle the group chooses to use. That's totally up to you, because I'm after the process, not what comes out at the end. Okay. In fact, it took arm twisting for me to even put some examples in the assignment page, because I don't want things that look just like that. That was a result of their process when they were working together a year or two ago. Other teachers, different teachers. And so the map should be nothing to be stressed about. I was trying to lower everybody's stress last night, particularly the math group's stress about it, and trying to, it's just the act of building something together has you thinking about, because right now I think every group has shared each other's individual concept maps that they did last week, and they were sort of, you know, talking about the similarities and the differences, and then has a starting point. Now, have each of you been looped into your groups doing that?
Nick?
Yeah, I'm in communication with my group about it.
Yeah, you're in some, you guys are having some emails, or you have a joint?
Yeah, we use this social media platform. It's just like a messenger. It's called Slack.
Slack. Oh, you're using Slack, and that's how you're communicating. And so, but the other social science members and you are in communication, and you've shared your initial things. And
I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, we're working on a chat with it right now.
Okay. So I mean, that was basically my takeaway from last night, was that everyone had a plan. The plan that was most loosey-goosey was science.
Well, could you elaborate? What do you mean by loosey-goosey?
They weren't clear how they were going to proceed, but they were going to proceed and get everybody together and communicate with each other.
We have I don't want to say we, because I was late, but they, I guess we are working on Zoom.
Okay.
And I saw a concept map, and people were adding to this concept map, but I'm not. I didn't participate yet. I just was there. I saw what they were doing, but no, So we are supposed to communicate and agree as to a time where we share ideas.
This map, yeah, this map is, well, this map should, the only real criteria for this map is that it's built on a platform that allows you to share a URL with everybody in the class. So basically, so you know that basically as a way to you know, if someone has the link, it's public kind of thing, and they can see it. And whether that's on a Google Doc or a lot of I suggested, because in the past we've done some work on Poplet,
Yeah.
Popl.
That's how we're doing Poplet.
And someone else had started their mapping on Prezi. The tool doesn't matter as long as it allows for a link that then people can click in asynchronously and work and view it and or work on it. So a lot of the groups will end up saying, well, we're going to sort of map out something, and then someone else at some other time can come in and sort of clean up. You know, the idea is that everyone works on the same map, but not necessarily synchronously.
Okay.
And the reason for that is the same reason why every synchronous meeting I have is always optional. We all have lives. We're all busy working adults. You wouldn't be taking this program if you wanted to do everything synchronously. And so group assignments are sometimes difficult. And so the idea is that you all are sharing ideas in one form or another, whether that's through an email or a generic document or through something that's being worked on, so that you can see everybody's thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes, and of course there can be disagreement or agreement, of course, as to, okay.
Absolutely, and I made it clear last night, and that's the part I wanted to make clear to you two today, is that I'm not grading I'm not grading the end product. Okay, there is no right answer. There is absolutely no right answer to this. It's a process. I'm just using the map as a way of enforcing that the process.
And we share it.
You share, and that you look at the different things and think about
different perspectives. Yes,
for different perspectives. And so it doesn't matter if each group might have one or two people who are like super stressed out and don't have as much time to put into it as other people do, or they might have someone who, this is my only free week, so I just want to get it out of the way. So I'm not looking at who did what, you know, in the groups. I'm not looking at, you know, the map isn't being graded per se. I do pour over them just because I'm always interested in them. But it will be up to each of you to sort of characterize your thinking about how, you know, that emerges from this process in a personal reflection that is turned in. And all I ask about the map is that you put the URL for the map in that reflection. It makes it easier for me. I don't have to go to 3 different places to read. So and that's basic. There's a rubric, a fairly detailed rubric for your reflection that's that's linked. Okay, so that's the, you know, that's the quote scoring mechanism, because because unfortunately, as a teacher, I truly believe if we could get away from grades, everyone would learn more. But I'm in a minority, and particularly in higher ed, I'm in a minority, and there has to be some.
Yeah, the grades say good motivation.
Right.
So let me see if I had a couple of questions. The first one was, my understanding is that we are supposed to be using 4 sets of standards: the National Board, the National Board for Science. In my case, for instance, I'm supposed to use the California standards, and then I'm supposed to use the NGSs.
Yeah, and what I stressed for the NGS is not the detailed standards, because there are subject specific chemistry, okay, but to pick something that's really broad and keep it at a very high level. For instance, the cross-cutting concepts, or the scientific practices. I forget what they're called exactly, but
science and engineering practices.
Yeah, right. Something like that at their highest level, and relate them in. Because I think we had a fairly lengthy discussion about, do you start with what the students are supposed to learn and then link in what the teachers are supposed to do, or do you start with the teachers are supposed to do and then link in what the students are supposed to learn? Because these standards point at different things. And my point is, you can go either way, because I think you'll come to the same spot, particularly when you're dealing with NGSS at that very high level. I think they're after the same kind of things. You know, because you can't have students learning certain things unless teachers are behaving in certain ways. So I think that's the kind of link I'm trying to get, just a little bit of popping out for everybody, because we all have a lot of standards.
Yes.
Pouring down on our heads. You know, we could talk about the ELD standards. We could talk about the other standards that all apply to the work that we do. And what I'm trying to get is at these fundamental, I think to some degree, as you do this, you'll see how the core propositions sort of emerged. Okay, because across the board, these are the things that if the students are going to learn X, Y, Z the way we say they are in our state standards, or our national standards, okay, these are the kind of things teachers have to do. And so I think and that's what the research showed us. And so I think that they're two sides of the same. They're two different sides of the same coin, and that's what I'm hoping as you look to map them and see how they affect each other, or what applies where. And you can take all sorts of different approaches to this, and that's why there is no right answer to the map. It's just the fact of looking at all these standards and sort of figuring out how they sort of relate to each other. It's that thinking about them that I think will hopefully give some framework to the discussions as we move forward in more detail.
Okay.
Does that make sense at all?
Definitely, but yes, Nick.
Yeah, to me, yeah.
How about for you, Nicholas? Is that making sense for you?
Yeah, so I mean, to me, it just sounds like we're kind of in a more visual way doing the same kind of spirit of the last project of the
and to get some collaborative aspect to it going.
Yeah. It's
also to plant the seed about, you know, about how you can have students work together, not necessarily asynchronously. I mean, synchronously, you know, I guess, because more and more of that is needed in the workplace these days. More and more of that is needed to be able to work with people, collaborate with people, but not necessarily always get together at the same time in the same place. And so trying to get people sort of experimenting with that also. It's really again, just something to think about.
And even applying it to the classroom. I mean, I'm thinking of ways I can do this with my history kids.
Yeah, great. So yeah, so that was all. It was supposed to be a quick half hour in which the groups sort of get their act together about what they're going to do, who they're going to talk to, and you both have at least seen that there's some chemistry. For me to be able to say de-stress it, you know, there is no right answer, so there's no right or wrong. There can be different opinions, you know, to explain that it isn't busy work. It isn't, because reading standards can be incredibly boring. This is my way of trying to come at them in a more holistic approach.
Okay. Yep.
Is that?
Yes. Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah. I think you clarified some things. Yes.
And I just went in on, and then let me share my screen real quick from you. I just want to share the Titanium site. Then let me go back to where I am on the site. If you're in module 2, there's this area that says group concept maps. And I asked that each group, sort of by Friday, it doesn't have, your map doesn't have to be complete yet, that each group by Friday put one entry in this map. So we should end up with 4 entries in this map, and we do have one right now from math, which is just basically you say this is the math group and this is the link to our map. I haven't clicked on it yet, so I don't even know if it's, it looks like I have to do some work on my browser.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm getting it. And this should be their concept map. This is how they're doing their concept. So that if this helps your group, great. If it confuses your group, then you ignore it. It's the whole idea was this is an open process, right? So we're all sharing our maps, and this is still being developed by them. This is what they were doing last night, I guess. And this is how they've chosen to organize their mapping of their standards.
That is very intricate.
Yeah, so again, I just ask that one person in each group just put the link in here so that everybody then can get into it and see everybody. So it should only be 4, so it shouldn't be too overwhelming. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. We have a lot of work to do. We have some work to do.
Yeah.
I do. I haven't done anything. Yes.
Is not to stress over the map, so that you're freeing up whatever energy you have to actually be learning in the process of building the map.
Okay.
Don't worry about group dynamics and you know and what the map ends up looking like. Worry about what you're learning and what's interesting and picking people's heads about it. That's what I'm after on the group part of the work. And then of course our first reflection, we'll do a lot of work on what in the next module. We're going to do a lot of work on what really constitutes a reflection, what are the characteristics of reflection, and on the difference between reflective writing and analytical writing and descriptive writing. So this sort of sets us up by giving us a freewheeling reflection here that we'll then learn more about reflection in the next module.
Okay.
So does that hopefully let you know that you really didn't miss much last night?
No, actually.
That was the whole purpose of this meeting, because I wanted to make sure that people didn't feel like they were missing a key ingredient and that they made the connection with their groups, you know.
No, it has been very helpful, definitely. You clarify a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm here to answer any questions, but I don't have anything more to say.
No, I'm ready to get to work.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward for the literature that you might recommend.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I will. I'm putting that on my to-do list. So
I don't know if I'm gonna read it right away, but I want to have the option to have.
I will put it out for the whole class. I promise.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure enough.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then both of you have a great evening and a great rest of your week.
You too.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Nick.
Till next time, guys. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. I have to stop sharing to get out of here. There we go.